Hello. I am starting a YouTube channel, as you're probably watching this on YouTube. But basically, I was speaking to a friend of mine who's also in the entrepreneurial space, and he was like, "You need to get out and you need to get on YouTube." So I've been posting content on all sorts of different platforms in the past while. Yeah, you could say that. And for me, who I am and who I want to work with, is very much engaging, and people need to know who I am and what I stand for. So this video is very much just an introductory to who I am, what is my actual story, and a wee bit around what I've actually just started. So who I am, basically, my name's Mark, 27 years of age, got married last year, live in Northern Ireland. I specialize in sales, B2B sales specifically. And it all started probably from a very young age when I was probably around 5 or 6. My mum and dad were both self-employed. So I've been around self-employed businesses, stuff like that, pretty much my whole life. But I remember when I was younger, my dad was like an oil guy or coal man. I'm not sure whether you might know that, but basically in Northern Ireland, you get a bag of coal delivered and comes straight to your house. You get paid at the end of for the delivery, but quite often people got paid on a Friday. So when they got paid on a Friday, me and my dad used to have to go around every single people's house and obviously collect money for the coal. So I truly believe that's where the whole sales business mindset, everything started. But where my actual own business journey started was when I was 16. I had the choice whether to stay on at school and go to further education. I got really good grades. I could have stayed on, but I left and went on to be an electrician, an apprentice at that stage. Served 4 years as an electrical apprentice. From then, I realized that I was actually pretty good at it. So started running a team, managing a team in about third year of my apprentice. So I was probably, 19. And as soon as I got my qualifications, stuff like that, managed a bigger team and went up and managing big apartment blocks, big new builds, and factories and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. But long story short, I realized that wasn't my path, that wasn't my direction. So then I moved out from that and went into sales and online sales. Started working for an Amazon agency, and it was an info, like a course show at B2C, and realized that in B2C, especially in the info space, it usually doesn't last too long because, one, they scale far, far, far too quick. And then two, they can't keep up with fulfillment, which then means credibility gets ruined. And once your credibility's gone, you're gone. So anyway, scaled that company to a very good standpoint, and then parted from it and moved into full-time B2B sales, because I realized that if I wanted to play the long game, I had to be in the B2B side of things. And so worked for a couple of companies in between all of that. I never really found a proper place that I wanted. And then I started working for a company which pretty much focused on scaling agencies, and came into that company as a salesperson and developed into a B2B sales coach and helped scale. There was 100 agencies. So scaled it from 0 to 100 agencies in 14 months. And from that, I worked with 80 of them and scaled them up pretty much using their sales and stuff like that. Now, with all of that, obviously what I'm doing now, it's called Closed Loop. Closed Loop is essentially a B2B sales consultancy where, sorry for the sunlight, but which is essentially where I come into people's businesses and do a full audit on their pipeline and really figure out where they actually leaking revenue. Because what I found in my time there, 14 months there, is that a lot of founders, and I was helping them with the exact same problems pretty much every time. A lot of founders are very good at delivery and they're very good at understanding their business, but they're trying to wear too many hats all at once and they can't actually focus on what they actually want to. So I made the decision I was going to go all in at that from the start of this year. Started working with people at the start of this year and then really started getting results, and the results were incredible. I'll share more about that in probably other videos. But one of the things is I realized that was where I really wanted to be. That's where I wanted to spend my time, working one-to-one with people and really focusing on where's the revenue coming from and where's the revenue actually leaking. Because as you're focusing on other decisions like fulfillment, marketing, client relationships, all these types of things, the one thing which is actually growing your business is the one thing that's actually falling behind, which is the sales. So I come in, do a full pipeline audit and pretty much focusing on who's in your pipeline, who's not in your pipeline, who can be in your pipeline, and why have we not closed the sales that we have taken in a certain amount of time. So with all of that, I've found it to be very, very beneficial. Now, why is it beneficial? In terms of my own stats, taken 3,500 sales calls, cash collected over 2 million in upfront payments. And also, I understand what it's like not wanting to scale incredibly fast, but also wanting to scale and keep your credibility, which I think a lot of people in this space actually forget. But I'll not go on to that topic. In terms of this YouTube channel, is essentially the way I like to sell and the way I like to actually build relationships is from people actually trusting you and actually understanding who you are as a person and what do you stand for, what's your values, all that type of fun stuff. So it's essentially for someone to come on, watch who I am as a person, how I act, how I talk, if you can understand me, obviously with a bad accent. But there'll be a lot of videos more in how the client results are going, how my company's going, Closed Loop, but also how life in general is going and the methodology that I use behind the way I teach, the way I consult, and the breakthrough moments that'll probably happen. So follow along for the journey. I set myself a challenge of signing 5 clients in the first month. So I've already signed 2, which is incredible. So another 3 to go. I have a couple of calls lined up here over the next couple of days because I don't want to maximize. Obviously, I don't want to stretch myself too thin. Obviously, I want to make sure that, the people that I am working with are getting the proper fulfillment and really take my own lessons, essentially. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If this is helpful or anything like that, or maybe you've came from LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn, send me a connection request and engage there because I post there pretty much every day about lessons and stuff. And then here's going to be obviously 2 times a week, once a week maybe, something like that. And it's going to be raw, it's going to be honest. And that's really what it's all about. But before we go, look at that view. It's absolutely fantastic. So hopefully you're not sick of me already, and I'll chat to you really soon. Cheers.